So Jing, and you trained over 10,000 recruiters in social recruiting and the sourcing and recruitment marketing and many things in this new era, the new AI era. And are you seeing that companies start to think about, hey, I need to hire people like a Jing to train my recruiters again to upskill them to master the new skill set?
They're excited to talk about it. They like me to come in and wave the magic wand, which you can do to a certain point. If you've been doing the same thing for 3 years for the same jobs, there's no more magic wands to wave. You have to fix process, and that's very hard to do because nobody wants to make those changes. And people flat out don't have time. The expectations are higher. And the thing about AI is you're not training people to use it. You're asking them to be curious, which is very hard. So you have to show them. And then because there's so many easy buttons, like how many people jump in and they go, oh, I know what this is. It's AI. It solved it. I just wrote a 60-page pitch deck. This is good. Well, no one's ever read it. Oh, I use it to write all my emails. Well, that's fine. Your candidates use AI to read their emails. So no one's doing anything and you don't remember it, right? So it's more showing what's the actual outcome to them, which is very hard because you're telling people your baby's ugly, you're doing things wrong. Like, here's the thing. People say recruiting is broken. First of all, no system is broken. There's no such thing as a broken system. If you don't understand why the system works the way it is, it's because you're not getting the benefits you want. That's a very important thing to understand. Systems aren't broken. It's not working the way that you want it to work. So the challenge is what is the interview supposed to do? What is recruiting and hiring supposed to do? Is it supposed to be fair? No. It's supposed to make it possible for managers to pick the right people at the right time with the least amount of effort. That's the point of a hiring system. So when we start complaining about something like that, it's because we don't really understand how that works. Fixing it is very difficult because then you have to admit we've been doing it wrong the whole time. So we had the first business use of an iPad for a company. They were brand new launch. Nobody knew what to do with it. They didn't even have apps out. And we had a quiz, this is for a furniture company, that you could walk into the store and type some words in, answer a quiz, and it told you what brands to buy. We were going to send iPads to every store, news crews that go out and watch the first business use of the iPad. Like 900 stations nationwide talking about my program that we set up for this. We had quizzes online. We had patches. It was big for the blogs. I had one client that was already on the first page of Apple. Rehab Care was already on it because they were using iPads and nursing solutions, and we were going to have the second. So my little agency was going to have 2 of the 3 spots for business on Apple iPad Business. I was so excited. They paid us very little, but at the time it felt like a lot. It's like $130,000. We're like, oh my God, that's so much money. And we walk in and the CMO basically says, this is great. We're not doing it. Well, why? It's not my idea. He's not going to get credit for it. Now, that company would later go bankrupt. So it's kind of, you see some of that, but it had nothing to do with that. This is important. This is good. This helps. This will sell. It's all about credit. And that's why it's so important for us to speak the language. When you walk into a company and you say, I can cut your cost by 50% and triple what you're getting. Everybody in that, if it's true, everybody in that business is going to get fired. You can't walk in and say, you guys are terrible. We can do a good job. Nobody, and the street doesn't like that. Wall Street doesn't like that. If you can really do that, they'll punish them in the earnings because it means they've been sandbagging. Understanding how we sell small enterprise, a small business or enterprise, you have to understand the motivations of the people involved, which is careful, sustained growth over time. And nobody wants 30% growth. In fact, you're taught to never say 30%, never say more than 10%. Because that people can write their head around and you're not telling them, you guys are idiots. We're so much better. And that's where a lot of the tech is failing. They're saying AI is so great. You guys are so bad. Of course, people are going to sabotage the products. Why would I work harder for you to throw me out of a job in 6 months? Let's see your little AI do it without me inputting stuff. And so that's something that we used to understand that, how business is done. And now we've been so focused on the KPIs that we're letting the true value of AI making all kinds of things better for us. There's so much that you can do. And instead we're saying it reads your emails and writes your emails for you. Instead of, hey, this business you're working for, can you fundamentally understand what makes a good employee? That would be amazing. Your recruiter's better. Your better conversations with the candidates. The hiring manager likes you better. And instead we're like, oh, you can cut your costs 60%, fire all your team. And right, it's a management, it's a sales failure from AI and a management failure to understand this fundamentally does change everything.
Definitely a lot of interesting observations because of AI now in the labor market. A lot of things are very concerning some people, and especially those AI vendors, and they will say, yeah, and it's going to create more jobs, and but we keep seeing people are losing jobs because of the AI, especially the entry level, new graduates and junior level people. Okay, but let's move away from the AI topics for now,
Okay.
and go to your a lot of domain expertise.
Recruit marketing.
Yes, recruitment marketing. And before that, we talked about job board. Okay, let me ask you the very sensitive question: is the job board dead? And you always give a very strong opinion.
I'm very concerned about how it's done. I think job boards are going to change fundamentally because of AI. They're going to either get really good at what they do and shrink and charge a lot more, or they're just going to be disappeared. The days of just selling traffic are flat out over. But the good news is we know the answers, intent and respect. I got a chance to talk to lots of job board owners. So there's a lot of people tackling these kinds of problems all over the world. They understand the issue, which is not just selling clicks anymore. It's not just sending candidates. I tried to tell people years ago, hey, you need less candidates, less applications. Sourcing gets this. You don't want every person you contact to apply. That'd be ridiculous. You want people who want the job. So the whole point of sourcing is, whoa, you have an intent. I'm convincing you to take the job. So even though it's more expensive to start with, that's a higher quality candidate because they said, I do want the job. Job boards used to do that. Now it's so easy. You don't know if they really want the job. All you know is they clicked apply. And we can't really blame candidates for doing those kinds of things. Why wouldn't you apply to 1,000 jobs with a click? I mean, it's bad for everybody, but why wouldn't you do that? Especially if we're blasting out 1,000 emails to fill a role. Like we're the victims of our own success in that sense. But the key to a job board surviving is intent. If someone applies, do they understand what the job is and they want to actually interview and take the job? Because they don't always. And the other part is respect. We have to change the way we pay for applications. Right now, you go into your database, you send out a video. Hey, will you spend 10 minutes applying for this job you don't even know if you want? No one's going to do that. But what if you used AI and the job board to ask some very important questions? What do you really want to do?
Yeah.
Do you understand what the job is? Is this a job you even want to apply for? Would you take it? How about here's the benefits, here's the salary? Because people care about most of the jobs are hourly jobs, 70% of the market. They want to know title, location, salary, and the manager. Yeah. You can give them all that. What are the benefits like?
Sometimes shift.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I want that. Okay. I'm like my brother. I can work this many hours. And they don't want to talk to you if you're not, because it's a waste of everybody's time. Yeah. A job board that figures that out, that respects the candidate by giving enough real information. Hey, do you have the full Microsoft suite of Office products? I mean, that's still on resumes, for God's sake. Are you good at communication skills? Who's going to say no? And if you are bad, did you really need them? Like that, and what does that even mean, right? So real job descriptions.
They probably don't need a resume. It's not professional salary pay position, and they probably don't need a resume for the application, right?
Well, it depends. I mean, what is the point of a resume? That's a fundamental error that we make. A resume was designed for an interview. It's designed to be the opening piece. The resume are designed an opening piece for an interview for a manager and a candidate to have some place to talk. There's a whole question of whether interview is even necessary or if the interview is designed to just get both people to commit. The problem is skills-based was created first to make up for the problem of degrees. and then they jumped on it because it sounded cool. But how do you measure a skill? If you go to Indeed right now, it'll tell you, on LinkedIn, both will tell you what skills you're missing.
How to verify?
You click a button, you go, I have welding experience. I mean, it's horrible. Job boards right now, even the best ones, you're looking at least 50% unqualified people, no matter what you're doing. I think the reason this why is what do people search by? Jobs near me paying this much. So I'll do allied health roles, which require certification, years of training, pay a lot of money. And someone will see that job in their zip code and they'll send it over. At first, I thought it was fraud. But I contacted those people, which is another thing no one ever does. I actually said, hey, why would you apply for this? Why would you apply for a nuclear medical interventionist radiologist when you're a welder or a stonemason? Well, I've always wanted to get into healthcare. They responded pretty quickly. So they had intent. I was hoping someone would see it and I could apply for a job and get in the, it's a totally rational response for them, enabled by a job board that didn't respect it. You see people complaining on LinkedIn, oh my God, I applied for 1,000 jobs. I was rejected for all of them. And I kind of lost empathy for them. Because one, you didn't apply for 1,000 jobs. And what were you thinking? If you do a hard work in the old days, knocking on doors, going to personnel, getting an interview, and you're rejected 5 times, you're going to change what you're doing. You're changing the way you're dressing, you're changing your interview style, you're going to ask for questions. What am I doing wrong? Right? Because it's painful to be rejected. If you click apply or use an auto apply, you didn't get rejected 1,000 times, but it sure feels bad. So I used to apply for jobs I didn't want, that I was marginally qualified for, but then I would forget because I was just testing to see what was going on. One day I got an email. I'm making a bunch of money. Everyone likes me. Marriage is going good. I got kids. So I'm in a great mood. And I get an email that says, I think it was Gartner, says, you're not fit for this job. It hurt. Just a brief moment, I was like, oh my God, a job I didn't remember applying for, that I wasn't qualified for, it still felt a little rejection. And that was one that I didn't care for. You do that 1,000 times, you're not going to make it. You're depressed and you're like, oh, I don't care. And you become a worse candidate. And people don't realize that impact on themselves because they're sitting there like rats tapping that button and they think this is the job they're looking for. It's not their fault. We enabled it. Job boards have to fix that. They have to limit the ability of somebody to apply by asking them, using AI to ask real questions. What do you want to do? What would you work from? Have you thought about how you're going to drive to this job? I was dating a girl and she's applying for roles. They're 30 minutes away from her. She doesn't have a car. These are 15 minutes outside of the DART. You're not going to get to these jobs. She goes, I'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. This is a 1099 job that pays at sales at the end of it. This is a silly job to apply. She just didn't grasp any of that because she sat on Indeed, clicking yes for the interviews. They got the interviews. It never occurred to her. What if somebody had, those are the kinds of things that we should be asking at job boards. Hey, what's the commute? What's the value? And why not use the AI for that? Then you have a lot less candidates, but everyone's interested. They end up doing a better job because they feel respected throughout the process. When you do this, because we've done it now, we did it with Daxtra, we did it with PSG. I've seen a number of companies or embedders doing some of this. There's a lot of, Boom Band is one. There are all kinds of companies looking at these kinds of just changes in the way we hire. And the result is less ghosting, better candidates, because they want your job. They're investing in it. The key is if you're going to do this, you have to get the interviewer. So if you're going to do all the work and you're going to be honest and you're going to talk about what you want, you get the right glove treatment. But if you've limited the number of candidates you've had and you're just not afraid of not getting anymore, now your recruiters have time to do it right. And you're not thinking, hey, I have too many candidates. Because that's a weird thing about job boards.
So my takeaway is about 2 keywords, right?
Yeah.
Intent, respect. There are many triggering events and can be listened on the job boards, and they have the techniques to detect that, and definitely can leverage AI as well. And for the respect, if I understand correctly, and it's more about how can we improve the technology and the product experience to do better job at matching, and also the communication, pre-process communication, so that we will avoid this disrespectful, spammy behavior from the candidates, and also the purposefully programmed by the job board to generate more applications, because then they can say, yeah, and the cost per application is pretty low, and cost per click is a super low on our platform. But then it's not about quality. Probably at the end, the cost of hire is higher than any other channels, right?
Quality of hire, lost revenue, lost impact, ghosting. If I can easily get a job by clicking click, click, click interview, let's say I come to work for you, the first time you look at me sideways, the first time you go, you have to work a little harder, the first time you say, you're not perfect, I'm going to quit. And on the way out the door, I'll have another job tomorrow. That's what frictionless hiring is. It's a really dumb idea. The idea that it means that jobs don't matter. And it's, again, it starts with the executive where there's plenty of people, it doesn't matter. When you do that, then you have turnover problems and less of a product, and you lose millions in training and opportunity and knowledge walking out the door because you didn't respect your candidates. But if you do, you should have good friction. The joke I always tell about this is people are like, I don't want to fill out a 45-minute application, right? I don't want to go to Workday and create a new email and fill in 45 application. I bet you I could tell you a job that would make you fill out a 3-hour application. It's a great job. You're going to love it. Pays $5 million a year. Once a week, you have to sit on a call for an hour, listen to people and give your opinion for 5 minutes. That's it. Would you do a 3 and you have a good chance of getting it? Would you do a 3-hour application for that? There's only 5 possible candidates. One of the 5 is going to get it. Would you do a 3-hour application in Workday? Would you upload your resume and put your details in and write a cover? Of course you would. You just don't want to do it. It's a waste of your time. It's never been about the time. Is my effort wasted? Because human beings have limits. And that's the scary part of a lot of AI applications. This is why flat AI sourcing is a terrible idea. It's the sorcerer's apprentice. It's the same thing with business development, because I call it a stacked pond. The problem is AI doesn't sleep, it doesn't stop, it doesn't end. So if you pick up the wrong solution and you just click a button and go find people, talk to them, you may have candidates for the first week or the first month. What are you gonna do month 2? Because it's called through everybody without thinking about it. So if you get a different job the next month and you just hit that AI button, you're just sending the same slop out as opposed to actually knowing the job, using it to pick the right people, planning it out, instead of just mass emailing the world, then assuming that everybody else isn't doing that. And that's the real danger of it, is that the bad solutions that are out there. So it doesn't matter if you do a great job, if a lot of your competitors are doing a terrible job, because no one will use email or text or Snapchat or whatever it is they end up using. So you have to have a respect and a brand and stand out immediately, or it works the first month, but then never again. I think that's one of the biggest concerns I have, is how easy it is for someone who doesn't know our industry, doesn't care about our industry, isn't invested in it, just thinks they can come in and with a push of a button change everything. It may work the first time, but then what? Now you've outfished your pond, you've ruined your brand. No one ever wants to talk to you again.
But that's exactly how people got into this industry. Over the past 10 years, and I have been in this business for 10 years, and we saw many vendors, startups, right? In my opinion, just like weed, and people came and went.
Yeah.
So, and we definitely need to show respect to this industry, right? And recruiting and the people business, and a lot of know-how, a lot of deep thoughts about what should be the right way of doing recruiting, especially in front of many new technologies available for us to build, right?
The future of talent acquisition isn't coming. It's already here.
See for yourself at hireEZ.com.